This is a show about facing fear, unlocking courage, and taking action.
Courage isn't necessarily a daunting thing.
It's going to give you more purpose. It's going to give you more drive.
It feels like making a courageous decision is going to get you closer to who you aspire to be.
It's knowledge plus faith plus action equals courage.
And I stood in front of my leadership team and I said, here's the deal. I know none of you thought I'd still be standing here today, and I'm with you. Neither did I. But we're going to give them everything we got. We're going to execute our plan. We're going to keep doing what we've been doing, and we're going to kick ass for this city, for this franchise, and we're going to turn this thing around.
I normally don't start off podcasts looking at my guests and going, I want to run some nicknames I've come up with for you.
Oh my God. That's how we're going to start. All right.
That is exactly how we're going to start.
All right, let's go.
And let's be really clear. There could be no better data point of love than starting out
Agree.
by saying, I got nicknames that I got to run by you.
Okay.
And then you got to let me know if there's something in here that you like.
Okay.
And again, for the listener, that's the way the show's going to roll today, because my guest is like, you can't see me for video, but it's like all love on the way you kind of figured I call it figured out ability. You've got figured out ability. I make up words when there's not a word there, and you've got it. So let's start with these nicknames. And
okay,
look, let's assume that people have read that you're the founder, co-founder,
sure,
and CEO of CUENTO. We'll get into what that means. I think you're gonna, probably the 1,000th time you've had to explain
sure,
it, but we will get there. But let's just jump right into bro land. Okay, ready?
Sure, ready.
Okay, I have a favorite too, but let's see if you like it.
Okay.
But here's the first of three. First one is the Boston Marathon.
Okay.
I like calling you the Boston Marathon because you are a damn marathon. Like, you are not afraid to run the race. I got you need like SPF 200 right now from what I can see. It's from Boston. And I think you're like, I didn't like Energizer Bunny. You're more like the Boston Marathon. I can rely on you every year. You're going to happen, and you're not afraid to go run the race, and you've been running the race. Scale of 1 to 10, what do you think?
I think it's okay. It's all right. It was one of my favorite days of the year living in Boston. So that there's like a little special part of love there. It was like the opening day. I call it the holy trilogy of drinking in Boston. It was St. Patrick's Day, the opening day, and then Marathon Monday wrapped it up. And then your liver was like, bro, give me a break. So Marathon Monday always has a special spot for me.
Yeah, I'm sure the marathoning was with beers more than running.
That was it.
All right, number 2 is very simply HQ.
Okay.
HKU. HQ. Hard Knocks University. And so HQ, I think, one of my favorite things about your LinkedIn, it's like, didn't go to college. And front and center. Couldn't be more front and center. By the way, if you haven't done your research on my guests, 10 years in professional sports, 7 years as the SVP CEO of the San Diego Padres, 3 years in the NFL before that, running marketing, we'll call it that, for the Miami Dolphins.
Sure.
10 years in pro sports. And so I like HQ, for Hard Knocks University.
Fact.
Okay. This is fact. Okay. And then the one I think I like the most is the Great White Hype. And it takes one to know one a little bit here.
Okay.
But I think it's the Great White Hype. And I think what you understand is that hype is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Hype is not a bad, like this day and age, you've got to be able to figure out a way to have energy and hype. So it's not like hustle culture. It's like the same, like it's hype. And like,
I was a hype man. I did that. I was on the mic, hyping crowds and getting it. All are fair. All are fair and based in fact and based in history. I'm okay with all of them. They all have a little bit of me in there for sure. And I think, the hype one is interesting. It's easy for people to just get bogged down in these buzzwords. You and I talk about this all the time. Like they become buzz and they become overhyped and then they become a negative. But if you look at the core essence of what they are, they're actually like important business tactics that have to be deployed. And like, if hyping my company didn't help my company, I wouldn't do it anymore, right? Like, it's like, if hyping myself didn't help drive leads for my company, I'd be moving on to the next tactic. It's not about, patting myself on the back. It's about how do we grow this thing and grow business? And as long as it's working, I'll keep doing it.
I mean, hype equals marketing, right? I mean, you do it.
That's it.
And I should rephrase that, because shitty marketing is not hype. It's just not.
No. And not based in fact. Like you're not trying to perpetuate something that's not factual. I think that's the biggest thing that I tell people is like, you need to actually, if you want to be known as the best place to work, then create the best place to work. I'll just amplify what you're doing and tell the story. I can't manufacture this amazing workplace if it's not amazing.
And you hit it already, but I am sure the audience doesn't literally know. Like, you used to be a DJ. Like, you started in that world. And like, by the way, how cool is it? You talk about courage. So you know this, and one of the reasons I moved into, I became more fascinated with courageous leadership was I thought, good luck selling a courageous idea if you don't have a courageous leader.
Mm-hmm.
And I think on paper, you are a courageous idea. Like, if you go back to the beginning, it took a courageous leader to go, wait a minute.
Oh,
this is exactly the type of experience we want to create here in Miami. We want people to feel. Talk me through, go back before the 10 years in sports. Like, how did you get from Boston World to the Dolphins?
Yeah. So I worked at a radio station group. So I originally got an internship at my dream radio station, which was Kiss 108 in Boston, pop station paired up with a hip hop station. So my two favorite stations, I got the internship. That was amazing. I got recruited away, and like there's some crazy stories in there, but I got recruited away to go to their competitor, which had 4 stations. They had a dance station, they had a rock station, a political talk, and sports. None of which were like in my wheelhouse, but it was a full-time job. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a run at this. Got in on the sports side. And I was just actually telling my daughter this story. They paid me $20,000 a year salary, but then I made appearance fees on the weekends as a personality, right? So I wrote the schedule, and I'm a born hustler. So I could do bar gigs and make $200 a gig. I could do a cell phone store and make anywhere from $350 to $500 a gig. I'm 23 years old, mind you. So I would do 2 bar gigs on a Friday night, and I would stack 3 gigs on a Saturday and 2 on a Sunday every weekend. And so after 6 months, the company was like, whoa, you're making A, way too much money. B, you're going to die. Like, you're not sleeping. And I was like, yeah. So anyways, I had this amazing moment again, back to courageous. And I didn't realize I was being courageous. I just thought I didn't realize what I was doing at the moment. I just knew I didn't like the way it felt. I worked for a person that wasn't a fit for me. I had a few ideas in a meeting, and she was my boss and didn't enjoy that I had taken a little bit of shine in that meeting, and sat me down after and said, hey, those are good ideas, but I do the ideas here. One of your jobs is that the cars are clean, and I drove in this morning and one of those cars is dirty. So why don't you worry about the cars and I'll worry about the ideas? I was like, okay. I went and cleaned the car, and I went home that night, and I was bartending and DJing, still like trying to like make some extra cash. Actually, no, I had quit all of that for this job, but I was making more money doing that than I was at the radio station. So I just quit. The next day I quit the job, and this guy who was the head of sales was like, you're not going anywhere. And I'm like, oh, I'm leaving. And he said no. And the amazing story is, the general manager came in and she said, you're not going anywhere. Tell me what's going on. I'm like, I don't want to work for her anymore. It's nothing personal. It's just not a fit for me. I don't feel great here. And I only got a career because people told me I needed a career. I was very happy DJing and bartending. I was having a blast. So she asked me to write on a piece of paper on one side, the left side, are all the things I did that I never wanted to do again. And on the other side, all the things that I did, I wanted to continue to do. The next day I handed her that sheet. She ripped it in half and said, this is your new job description. And she said, I'm going to find somebody to do this half, and we're going to get this off your plate. Here's your new salary. And you now report to that guy. Well, that guy became an incredible friend and a mentor. He was actually the first guest on my podcast. The person they found to do all that work ended up becoming my wife. And so she's like, I didn't know I took that job for life, dude. But yeah, it was a pivotal moment in my life where I stood up for it just didn't feel right. And so I went with what felt right. And I think, honestly, back to the no college thing, I think because I had no expectations on my career. I had no promises, and there was no entitlement. I just felt like I had to work, right? And it didn't feel good. So I was like, I can go work somewhere else. And the long answer to that question, that guy got recruited to the Miami Dolphins. And I knew I needed a leader, to your point, a courageous leader to go, that's my guy. I was in talks with iHeart in New York. Another guy had left and gone there. A couple guys went, was talking to them a little bit. And then this guy gets the job. His name is Jim Rushton. He gets a job in Miami. And I called him every other day. Like every other day, I'm like, what else can I help with? I'll help you from Boston. I'll help you from Boston. And I got the call the day before Christmas Eve in 2009. And they needed me to fly there on New Year's Day. I DJ'd New Year's Eve in Boston. I DJ'd the Winter Classic at Fenway Park, like the pre-party at one of the bars. I left at the second period, caught a flight to Miami, interviewed, and the rest is history. So yeah, it took a courageous leader to say, this is the guy. I got lucky. I got hired and then they never asked about my college education. It didn't come up until months later and I was already off and running at that point.
Yeah. Do you feel, first of all, it's an amazing story. And the part that's the most amazing, you kind of matadored. You didn't, but like the fact that your wife is the one that got hired. You talking about it. I'm sure the household runs very much left brain, right brain.
100%. You know, what's even funnier is that she was the one that there was two of us. We wanted to hire my wife and our boss overruled us and made us hire somebody else. And we actually called my wife and said she didn't have the job. The other woman eventually turned us down and we went back to what we originally, I mean, you think about that turn of life changes everything for me.
Especially you think about who you would have married.
Well, I tell this story all the time. I'm naturally content and happy. That's why I have a business partner, because if not, I wouldn't, I'm accountable to her. That makes me work hard every day. I'm accountable now, wife, kids, and all employees. But before I met my wife, I was just happy. And she was like, this is cute, but what's next? Like, you're the best t-shirt hander outer in the city. Congratulations. Now what?
Way to go. Well, I was going to ask you, you know, when you start making these phone calls to Miami on a regular basis, right? You're like, I'll do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
How conscious / intentional are you? I mean, you've already obviously there's loyalty is there already, right? And you already know you're going to work. You'll run through a wall for them. But was there any part of you, in the spirit of the show, fear is a good motivator. You know, fear can be your friend if you don't let it overtake you. So but hearing you're happy and content, did you feel, hey, there's a little, okay, you did have fear, like you have to go get this
wife
job.
Was pregnant with our first kid. Real fair. I didn't want to continue to be a DJ. I'd started DJing again because my wife was a school teacher making 50 grand a year. And I needed to find a way to make an extra 50 grand. So I started DJing again. And I knew if I did 25 weddings in a year, that equaled her annual salary. And so I was like, all right, I have to hustle mentality, right? I have to find a way to make that extra cash. That turned into a whole side business that I was running that was making substantially more than $50,000 a year on the side. And it was amazing. But the fear was I didn't want to not be home for my kids because I had to go take a second job. The fear was like, I want to provide my wife and kids with the life that I've always dreamt of providing for them. I don't know if I'll be able to do that working 3 jobs, working around the clock. And so the NFL thing was this opportunity to take all my chips, push them in and go in on something without a safety net, with all in. I'm moving my family to Miami for here we go.
You're taking me back to a moment where when I can see myself sort of auditing. And again, I had no idea where this thing was going to go.
Yeah,
there was
part of you and I just go
right. It certainly wasn't this.
Usually there's a cocktail in our hand, but it's fine.
Yeah. Well, I almost made a cocktail joke earlier. I almost did. So yes, metaphorically, we are cocktailing right now. But I saw myself. So I was in New York City.
Yep.
So if you would have taken that job, I'm sure I would have run into you.
Yep.
And I can remember getting let go from the agency I was at. And I could it was like having a heart to heart with yourself. Now there was no love interest at the time other than I've got to figure it out.
Sure.
And then I didn't see a path. If this is even sustainable, I'm going to be living in New Jersey and I'm going to be commuting for 2 hours into the city. And I couldn't this is like all love for those who do that.
No doubt.
I could not see, I did not want to live my life that way. And so off to California I went. I'm like, what's the worst that could happen? Let's see. I'll give it a try and then we'll see what happens. And again, my original intent was to go to LA, and I landed here to help a friend start an agency. And the next thing you know, two main themes so far of the show. One is, I love that you said it didn't feel right. Because I think for you, this is a theme that's come up a few times,
no doubt,
in your career. And then the second, we're back to figure it out ability. Just figure it out. I don't have all the answers. There's no business plan, maybe. And I'm not saying you didn't have a business plan for this, but like figure it out, right? So you get to Miami, and are you just like whatever it takes? Like, what's the role? What does it look like?
I get hired as senior director of content. I mean, originally it was going to be VP of content, negotiate the whole thing, and then at the last second, they're like, "Hey, we're going to change your title because there's a lot of people at this sort of level that if we bring you in, I don't think it's going to work very well." And so, senior director of content, everybody's like, "What does content mean?" This is 2010. They're like, "Are you the radio guy?" Because I was coming from a radio station and we were bringing media in house. Are you the radio guy? Like, content's the hub. Everything else is just, trying to whatever. Yeah. So did content quickly.
Are you sure there wasn't senior director of content?
Trust me, at that point you couldn't be content. It was go time. I mean, I'll be honest, when I first got there, it was crazy. Like, we were working, it was like a startup. We were working around the clock. We were building this thing back up, new ownership and new leadership. And, I was having a good time too. Right. Like, and my boss sat me down and he gave me a very honest talk. He said, "Look, you're running circles right now. You're doing great." He's like, "You made me look great. Thank you." He's like, "You're doing your part. And between you and I know I'm getting about 75-80% of you right now." He's like, "You're having so much fun. Like, you're so excited to be here. You're Johnny Good Time. You're going out with everybody. Like, you're leaning on your natural gifts. I'm okay. It's okay. But I'm just giving you the heads up that what you're doing already, if you just shifted some things around, give me 95%,
wow,
rest will take care of itself. Like, you're gonna soar. You have the upside." And the same thing happened. CEO sat me down, had a similar talk about, it wasn't, I had shifted. I did everything my boss told me to do at that point, and I went all in. And then I leveled up to the CEO was now paying attention to me to, "Hey, we gotta, like, now for you to take the next step. These are the things you have to do." And they were just honest conversations. It was like, "Thank you. Yeah. You know what? Like, I can rest on my natural ability to make friends and be the center of the universe and kind of do those things and be the DJ and go, all right, I got to put the DJ away and I have to go apply these other things right now." And, I think the DJ thing came naturally to me. And so, get in the corporate environment, you try to play the part of the new NFL executive. And at the end of the day, I had to eventually become that. And honestly, the shift to the Padres was a big opportunity for me to not come in as DJ Wayne day one.
Right.
But I didn't let anybody see that side of me for 6-7 months here, where there was day one, I was that guy. And San Diego, I was like, no, I'm going to be what I should have done there. I'm going to learn from my mistakes and I'm going to come in, I'm going to set the tone, and then I'm going to let people know me and let them see the other side of me. But I need them to know me as the serious business guy first, because I'm that too. But I just, I would mask it with the fun guy that everybody wants to hang out with.
So when you leap over here, what talk me through that story. Like, how did that even happen?
Yeah, it's a good one. So my boss, CEO, I got promoted. Things are great. I'm overseeing way more than what I originally got hired for. I've got a new job. It's amazing. All of a sudden, CEO says, "I'm leaving. I'm going to the San Diego Padres, be CEO. Mike D, he's coming to San Diego." Like, okay. Well, what does that mean for me? He's like, "Dude, you're in a great place, man. You just bought your house in Miami. You just had the second kid. You're good." Okay. He's like, "And plus, I have a non-solicit. I can't take you with me." Okay. Amazing. This is awesome. Sent me a note. We were talking and he's like, "Hey, can you make me a list? I really want to bring someone over from the NFL to run marketing. Can you make me a list of the people that these are the things I'm looking for?" I'm like, "You got it." So I sent him my name. Then I sent 2 other names that I really liked. He was like, "Your wife's not moving to San Diego, dude. There's no way. You just bought your house. Like, you're finally settled in." And I was like, "I'll handle that. you handle this. And he was like, I can't talk to you about this. There's no way I can't do it. And I had to go get permission to have that conversation. And kudos to the new team president of the Dolphins was a guy named Tom Garfink, who actually came from the Padres. They sort of switched
Totally.
spots. But to Tom's credit, we'd only worked together for 2 months at that point. I told him what the situation was, and I told Mike wouldn't talk to me until he gave me permission to talk to him. And he said, you have 48 hours. And I went to San Diego. I checked it all out. And my wife and I had determined the things that mattered most to us. We enjoyed the warm climate. I wanted that bigger job, that bigger title. So we knew we needed that in the future. That was sort of something I was aiming towards. But we also wanted to live in a place where our kids could go to a top-notch public school system was a goal of ours. My wife had taught in a bunch of different school districts, and we had decided that the most affluent public school was the greatest opportunity for our kids to shine. And so San Diego provided that. It was the warm climate. It was working for people I knew and trusted, right? Like, the things that if you identify what matters most to you, it helps you make that decision. My wife was not on board and not excited about it. And a buddy of mine was over, and I turned down the job, and a buddy of mine was at the house, and he used to be a corporate recruiter. And he's like, how was your week? I'm like, actually turned down a job. He said, what was the job? I'm like, chief marketing officer of the San Diego Padres. He was like, nope, no, you didn't. And he gets out of the pool. He goes in the house. He says to my wife, hey, where are your boxes? She's like, what do you need boxes for? He's like, I'm packing your stuff because
You're out of here.
You're leaving. And she was like, he gets calls all the time. It doesn't. She goes, no. This call's not coming again. This is his guy. You're going. And it was a moment. And so that's when I had to go and talk to my boss and then get CEO approval and see what we could do. And the rest. Yeah. So that was a big part of how we got out here.
First of all, give that guy a shout. Who's his name?
That's Brian Nelson in Miami. Yeah, in Fort Lauderdale. Dude, huge move. I actually was just at the Waste Management, and he surprised me. He was there working and had arranged with my wife and one of my buddies to know exactly where I was going to be, and just popped up and surprised me. And yeah, just what a move, right? Like, and again, my wife was like, I keep watching Wayne just keeps doing these things. And he's like, yeah, this is different. Like, this is a once in a lifetime knock on the door. You take it and you run, especially when you're the no college kid, when you're the DJ. Like, you need that person to believe, that courageous leader to believe in you and give you that shot.
First of all, this reminds me of, we're stacking themes. Okay. I got my little weekly dose of courage. And 6 months ago, I wrote something called The Friend Zone.
Okay.
And I'm like, the friend zone gets a bad rap.
Sure.
Oh shit, I just landed in the friend zone. No, your whole life is because you truly made friends with the right crew. And this is me talking. I'm not putting words in your mouth. I've almost always had success when I'm like, no, I just want to be the best friend I can be to my clients. I'm sorry if that doesn't work for other people. I'm not going to, this is who I am on Tuesday, on Saturday, on Thursday. Like, this is me. And so I like the friend zone. And here again, you had a friend that stood up to your wife, by the way, but it also sounds like you had a friend or a couple friends who you happened to also work with. And as they grew, you helped them, and they had the courage to sit you down and be like, if you just applied yourself this way, off we go. I got to ask you one question.
Yeah.
And you and I have never had this chat. So I like that we're having this on here. I do find it really interesting that you married a teacher and that you had a conscious conversation of where can we find the most, what school district can we be in where our kids can have that education. So, where I'm going with this one now, right? Do you feel like blessing or curse about no college for you?
Yeah. So I think it's for everybody. For me, it's a blessing. It wasn't a fit for me. Listen, I'm a big Gary Vaynerchuk fan, and he uses this line, so it's his, and I'll quote him, but I didn't fail school. School failed me. Like, I look at the way my kids are learning today, and my daughter just decided on a high school, and I was like, oh my God, what I would have given for that. And I was fortunate, man. My high school in Norwood, Massachusetts, we had a TV production studio in 1992. Like, that was out of this world, and that changed my life. So you think about what these kids, and they're learning problem solving, and they're learning the things that mattered most. For me, when Google popped up and YouTube, I went to Google University. I loved learning. I just didn't like memorizing just to regurgitate back. I liked, you give me a problem and then I have to solve it. And I loved that all day long. but they didn't offer me that. That wasn't there. And they gave me 3 options. You could be a policeman, a fireman, or a trash man. Those were my 3 choices coming out of high school. I chose policeman. I graduated the police academy at 19 years old because that's what they told me I could do. And then the DJ thing explodes on a break from that. And here we are. And it's like, my mom and dad were like, you've got this creative thing going, and there was just no path for it. I couldn't get into college, like the Emerson College, which was the biggest, like, communication school of it. I didn't get in. And so I later got asked to come back and speak, and I sent them their own denial letter back. And I was like, no, that's going to be a big no for me, dog. Like, I wasn't a fit for you. You're not a fit for me. And that's okay. I think college is amazing for kids. I think it works so much. It just wasn't a fit for me. And I think it's okay to talk to people about what's important to them, where you're trying to go, and how do we get you there. My dad, that was his big thing with me was, you need to tell me what your plan is. How are you going to apply this? Both of my sisters went to college, right? One's a principal, right? And the other one runs a preschool with my mom, and they both went into business. Amazing. It was very important for them. For me, with I didn't have a plan. I was 17 years old, graduating high school. My dad was like, you're just not ready. Like, and I tell the story often. I mean, we got stopped in a parking lot by another dad in the neighborhood. We were going into the grocery store, and he said, hey, where's Wayne going to school next year? And my palms just got sweaty, dude. Just even talking about it, sweaty. The fear and the just, oh my God, I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer to this question. And my dad said he's going to take a year, and he's going to assess where he is, and he's going to come up with a plan. And he looked at my dad and said, you need to get him to college, or he's going to be a loser. And to this day, I remember that moment, right? That was 30 years ago. And I love every time that guy likes one of my posts on Facebook. I smile every time, because it wasn't his fault, though. Society had told him that was the only way for success. Our parents grew up in a generation where the most successful people only had one path to success. Yeah. Right. And then they were preparing us for a world they never could have gotten us ready for. There was no way. So that's why I focus with my kids on skills. And I hope they go to college. I hope they go and find their path, and it's the right fit for them. But if it's not, it's not gonna be the thing that justifies my success in life. What their path is, I'm gonna help them make the best choices for them.
Man, isn't it crazy? Like, first of all, I think we're all little boys and girls trapped in these adult bodies, sure. Right? So like you said, you go back to that moment in time, and you're like, there's little Wayne just trying to figure out, what about me?
Yeah. No,
I will not be a loser.
My friend, that was the biggest fear. That was what used to keep me up at night. And you would sweat and you'd be nervous, and you just didn't have the answer. But you also go back and you realize, like, you're just a kid. Like, how are you supposed to have that answer? How are you supposed to be ready? And it's okay, I think, to explore. And I think honestly, like, seeing the stuff that my daughter's already learned, and I'm like, gosh, she's so prepared. Like, she'll be so better prepared to make. And to be fair, my mom and dad were so young when they had me. My mom was 19, my dad was 20. Like, they weren't prepared to parent me either, right? And like, they were well prepared to parent the next 2 siblings, but like, they didn't know. My parents didn't even know I had to take the SATs. I showed up day of and just handed them, like, I remember my dad gave me a check and was like, I guess you're supposed to take a test tomorrow or something. Here's a check. And he drove me to the school, and I took a test. Like, there was no SAT prep. There was no nothing, it was just like, it just wasn't the world I came from. And, I don't blame them at all. Like, they were doing what they thought was best for me and what they knew.
Again, this is going to sound like I'm knocking NBA people. Okay. Not NBA, MBA people. But, in some ways, I'm always like, because we're more like the not. Yes, I went to college, but I never felt that I was smart. I just felt like my brother was a smart one, and therefore I'm going to have to outwork you. Like, that's just the way it is. I'm going to outwork you. I can tell you exactly what I'm going to do, and it doesn't matter, because that muscle I've been using that muscle since I was 14 years old. Mm-hmm. When I was first told, or it's not even told, when I first felt that I wasn't smart.
Right.
And so You're like, well, how am I going to win as a competitive person? Well, I guess I'm going to have to outwork you. And then off you go. And it's amazing. Like you go and you go and you go, and there are still moments like I'm sure that moment where they're like, actually, your title's not going to be that. It's going to be this, yada, yada, yada on the why. But you probably feel like, oh, they feel I'm inadequate. Again. It's like a reminder again. Now it's those exact same skills. And I'm like, wow, thank you, universe. Like, thank you,
For
universe,
sure.
for teaching me how to like see between the lines, or when everybody zigs, I'm going to zag. And, I'm not going to do it just because it's I'm doing it just to stand out. I'm doing it because it's the right thing, or because I know it's going to work for me. And if I just, my mantra is patiently relentless. I don't know if I've ever shared this with you, but like, to me, it's like, I'm going to get there. Like, it's just a little train that could all day long. And I feel like, all right, so the boxes are packed. We're going to San Diego. You're like, this is my opportunity to like not be DJ Wayne, to not be right. Like, you're going to be Wayne, right? And what's so great is that I think I first learned of you. Okay. I never knew the DJ story.
Yeah.
I just knew CMO of the Padres is cool. Okay. He's cool. He's cool, but it wasn't like too cool. It wasn't too cool. He was like, he's cool. He's cool. And I'm like, I gotta figure out a way to meet this guy. I want to work with the Padres. How do I get in to work with the Padres? Just like every other probably
of course.
brand in town. Walk me through those 7 years. Like, how do you, it's almost unfair, but like, how do you do it?
There's a couple chapters. It's pretty easy. So the beginning is the honeymoon, right? You arrive. It is a brand that hadn't been touched in a long time. You know it. You grew up here. I get here in November 2013. We do our first round of brand research in December into January of 14. Come out of that work with a really good direction on where we needed to go, what mattered to this community, and what they were expecting of us. But also knowing we weren't going to have a great team on the field for a little while. We had work to do. And ownership and leadership was in the assessment of everybody. I was sort of I was like the first hire. I joked that I was the player to be named later in that trade. So we start do the research, we come out, and we start applying things. We start playing with the tech and in-game entertainment. That was 2014. In the offseason 15, we decide we're going to do the video board. I make a passionate plea when I'm doing my plan that you don't just buy the race car. You go out and hire the best race car driver. You hire the best pit crew. Like, car's only one thing. And so we recruit a guy named Matt Coy, who was with the Dallas Cowboys running their show, to come to San Diego with me. And we're going to reimagine the game entertainment. That's 15. Amazing. 16 is the All-Star year. We had the All-Star game. Crazy year. It was a rough year, right? I had some mistakes in 2016. It was rough, right? And definitely my contract was up. Assumed it was all over. My boss gets fired in mid-October of that year. My contract ended 2 weeks after that. I'm toast, Ryan. Like, game over. I am licking my wounds. I promised my wife that our kids would finish elementary school wherever they started it. So at that point, I mean, for the 2 months leading up to that, I had gone down the hill and looked the apartments down the street, figured out what the rent was going to be, figured out my least not I'd have to cover every month and what I was going to have to do to get there, right? My mind goes into hustler mode right away. When my boss is no longer with the team, they tell me I'm going to stay, which is shocking. I literally felt like the world exploded behind me, like out of a movie. And there's just me in a flowered shirt walking out going, dusting off, like, how the hell am I still here? I had this amazing meeting with the owner, Ron Fowler, who was so, again, back to courageous leaders, who just looked me in the eye and he said, look, I've reviewed, what you did this year. It's actually pretty impressive. I didn't quite know what you did. Here's where I'm at. I don't think you're qualified for this job. Okay. This isn't going the way I was hoping it was going to go.
Good first minute.
I think you're a great guy, but I think you're a guy who everybody likes to spend time with, and that's propelled you to this point. Okay. So here's what I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you the best thing I could give anybody, which is one real shot, one honest shot. I'm going to give you everything I got, and we're going to work together to see if you can make this thing. You haven't done anything to prove to me you're not the guy. So I just want to see. Okay. And I said, that's all I can ask you for. My whole life, all I've ever been given is one shot. I've never had a backup plan. I have them, right? Yeah. And he said, okay. And he said, but here's my only caveat to you. I want you to do the job the way you think you should do the job. I want you to don't do it the way you think Mike would want you to do the job. Don't do it the way you would think Jim would want you to do the job. Don't do it how you think I want you to do the job. Do it the way Wayne would do the job. And at the end of the day, it's going to work or it's not going to work. And if it works, it'll be because of you. And if it doesn't work and you do it honestly and you do it like, give me everything you got, we'll help you find a spot to land and we'll take care of you. But that's what I'm going to give you. And so it was an amazing moment. It was terrifying.
Where was the meeting?
In San Diego. And I went home and I was thankful to still have a job. And I remember it was Christmas break came up. We get 2 weeks off for Christmas and baseball. That following Monday, we're back in the office. I had a standing weekly meeting, and I stood in front of my leadership team, and I said, here's the deal. I know none of you thought I'd still be standing here today, and I'm with you. Neither did I. But we're going to give them everything we got. We're going to execute our plan. We're going to keep doing what we've been doing, and we're going to kick ass for this city, for this franchise, and we're going to turn this thing around. And that's when we went in, and I got to present a whole bunch of stuff. We had a consultant come in and analyze my team. The results were amazing. And then we went into the research around uniforms. I mean, the rest is history, right? The next chapter is, okay, I'm going to do it my way. Not that I was doing it a different way before, but he had not been exposed to me. I will tell you, when he came back from Christmas break, I did have a DJ console installed in my office, and he came in one day. He's like 75 at the time, and he's like, "May I ask what you're doing?" And I was like, "Well, you told me to do it my way, right?" He's like, "Yeah." I go, "This is how I think. I play music, and I just stopped thinking about work for a second just to kind of clear my head." He was like, "Hey, you're doing what I asked. Let's see how it goes." Yeah. Fast forward, he's become an incredible friend and a mentor, and we built an incredible relationship where. So that's sort of the next chapter, right? It was the design and the evolution of the brand to get the uniform work done. And then the final chapter was, okay, we got 2 years until those uniforms hit the field. So what's next? And I always did that with my staff. What's next? Somebody who was on my team is now on your team, used to be on your team, now back on your team, Nicole Miller. Like Nicole's claim to fame with me from the day I met her was, I don't stay anywhere more than 3 years. Like I just get bored, and I just want you to know that. And so it got me thinking like, okay, what's next? What's next? So part of trying to challenge Nicole made me challenge everybody. I'm like, what's next? What's next? And Katie Jackson, who was my VP of marketing at the time, I asked her the question, what's next? Like the uniforms, we got 2 years, but I need to start planning with ownership and leadership. What's next for us? And she was like, I've been answering your questions for too long, Wayne. Answer me this question. Okay. What's next for you? What are you talking about? She's like, you rebuilt the 5 departments that report to you. You have everybody's in. Because what would happen was I would run the department, find the right person to lead it, and then step away and then do it again. There's 5 of them. I did that. She's like, you're good. We're good. What's next? She's like, because you're not the person that's just going to sit here and ride this job out with incredible leaders underneath you. You've built it so you could leave. What are you going to do? And I was like, I'm going to leave. This was in December of 2018. And she said, what are you going to do? And I told her, and she said, I'm going with you. And I said, no, you're not. I'm like, I'm going to do everything in my power to set you up to be the next CMO of this team. And she was like, not what I want. That's cute that you think you can tell me what I want to do. But if you ever met Katie Jackson, nobody's telling her what to do. And she said, I'm going. And I said, well, if you're going, then we're partners. And that's how we kind of, came together on Cuento. And so the last 2 years was setting the team up for success for the future, getting the uniforms launched, getting every department structured so that when it was time for me to move on, which I figured was the end of 20 or the end of 21, depending upon what the team needed. I had very honest dialogue with ownership. Whatever they needed, I would stay for as long as they needed me to and put my next chapter on the back burner until they were ready. And then COVID hit. And so some stuff accelerated on the Cuento side. We got them through that season and then stepped away at the end of the 2020 season. So that's a long kind of chaptered version of my 7 years. It was the most amazing experience in my life. The opportunity to redefine and grow and build a brand that today, I couldn't be more proud of the city of San Diego. 2013, there weren't a lot of people walking around in Padres jerseys. Now, a lot of that has to do with great team being built, a lot of amazing players, a lot of investment. But I also like to think that we listened, right? To ownership's credit, they didn't make it ever about themselves. They literally took the research that we did and applied it and allowed us to apply it with kind of regard only for the community's interest. So pretty amazing experience. And we've parlayed that into now doing that for other people. It's pretty special.
What I really want to ask you is what's next? But I don't
Yeah.
want to, but I don't want to jump over, the launch of your baby.
No,
and what you built.
Yeah, that's what's next. I mean, we decided that we wanted to take the lessons from sports and apply them to other industries, that we wanted to take and consult brands inside of sports. We knew there was a huge opportunity. Katie and I were spending way too much time on the phones with other teams inside and outside of baseball, working on loyalty, working on engagement strategies, different things that would help propel franchises that were not. Look, when we were, besides the 2020 season, we didn't have a winning season in my tenure in either team. And that's okay, right? My job is to build interest, engagement, and revenue, even if the product on the field isn't as good as we hope it to be, that the experience all around the ballpark and around the team, the radio partners, the TV part, like all of it, right, is important. And those were all things that we were able to change during my time here, there. And so what's next for us is helping teams figure that out, doing the research with other teams and saying, okay, this is who the community wants you to be. Now, owners can say they agree or disagree. We've been fortunate, the teams we work with, they agree, but that's the key. Everybody has to be on board that what the research says is going to be the North Star of where we're going to go and the decision we're going to make. I got to tell you, I'm loving what I get to do every day. It's different. I travel a lot, as you and I are road dogs. Our DMs blow up with you and I just sending heart emojis to each other of like, where are you off to? I feel you, bro. Like, I love that. Like, I really enjoy that. I enjoy spending time with people. I love helping people and brands figure out where they're supposed to go and then helping them to deploy the tactics to get them there. And I love watching my friends win. I love being part of helping my friends win. Like, it's the greatest job in the world. I mean, it really is. And as you told me on my podcast, I get paid to tell the truth. Is there anything better? Like, you get to sit in a room like, I just don't agree with you. And with all due respect, here's my thought. And you can tell me I'm wrong. My job is to give you my advice.
Correct.
I just had this with somebody who, it didn't go well, right? And I had to give some advice that wasn't well received. And my job, it was cast over with, well, you're just offering judgment. I was like, it's in my job description to offer judgment. That's like, and it's never in a way that I want you to fail. It's in, this is my perception. This is my view, and right or wrong, but my job is to offer it and then figure out whether you agree, disagree. What was the reason you did it? And let's discuss, because I see something that doesn't feel right to me. Tell me why you did it and let's make it better. And by the way, your answer may be right and I might be wrong, and I'm okay with that too. Like, but I have to at least call it out when I see something.
That's why we're getting paid what we're getting paid, right? and nobody has time. No one has time. Like, could you imagine if you knew something that you felt could help a client and you didn't say it? And I think that's the part that sort of is terrifying to me. Like, everybody is time starved.
Yes.
And you have the power through and again, you've seen some things. It's not that you know everything.
Nope.
But from your perspective, it's like you could pick up time this way. Or my other favorite is like, yes, there are certain places, if you want to go faster, here is a place you need to go slower. And you'll go faster later, but like, you cannot matador this conversation if you want to get there at the speed you want to get there.
One of the things I try to tell people all the time, especially on the team side, and I know it, when you're living it and breathing it every day, you'll walk by a sign that is from 2 seasons ago and never even notice that it's out of date. And it doesn't mean you're bad at your job. It doesn't at all. But fresh eyes. Listen, I had a consultant come in and go top to bottom through my organization in 2017. Was I terrified? Oh my God, my job was on the line. He actually said it to me. He was like, I'm going to do an impersonation of him right now because he's a great guy. And he was like, Wayne, I mean, you're just so confident sitting here talking to me. And son, your job is on the line. And I'm like, well aware, but I got to give it to you straight. That's all I know how to do. And he gave me advice. He said, have you ever become a consultant? Here are things you should do. And it was one of those things, was just be honest with people and have to be okay with, on the other side, I got hired by somebody at a higher level to come in and put eyes on something that you've been working on. And I've been that person that's given my blood, sweat, tears to that brand. I mean, I lived and breathed both teams I worked for and the radio station before that every day, all day. It's everything I thought about. And it's why everybody's like, oh, are you still a Red Sox fan? I'm like, oh, hell no. I'm like, I get paid to love this brand, and now I'm in it, man. I'm in it. I'm 24/7 on this thing, and I can't. When the Red Sox came to Petco Park, and one of our creative guys had the idea to rickroll them on Sweet Caroline, I'm like, it was his idea. He executed the whole thing. His name's Cole Gallagher. He's incredibly.
I was at this game.
You were, and he said, I want to do this. Here's my pitch. And I love that because I knew what the Red Sox fans were going to do. I knew what our fans were going to do. And I knew when it happened, it was going to mesmerize people with just like, God, that's funny. And if you can entertain people, that's what it's all about, and not take yourself too seriously. Like, listen, I know as a team spokesperson for a team that's losing, you're going to take a beating. Like, you know it, and that's part of the gig. But what I've always found is if you can be honest and listen and hear, and it doesn't mean you have to change every decision because one fan didn't like it, but you should be listening and taking it into consideration. And that's the power that we had. And so when you give everything you have to a brand, it's pretty powerful, and it's pretty weird to walk away. I'll be honest. Like, it's hard to like leave that patch, that jersey, you know, that logo that's been kind of tattooed on your body for all that time. It's hard to leave it behind, but it was the right time for me. And I knew it wasn't going to help me get to where I wanted to go. I'd already accomplished everything I needed to do. Which is amazing, because if you think about Wayne in the back of a car being called a loser. Yeah. Or going to be a loser. Yeah. You know, and then you go and become, you know, the DJ path. And if I would have said to you even then, Wayne, one day you're going to leave a CMO job, you're going to work in the NFL, you're going to work in Major League Baseball, and then you're going to leave, you'd be like, you're crazy, dude. Crazy. And I'm going to tell you, this is one story I really wanted to share with you today. And it was on that note, right, of like shocking, but having to have confidence in yourself, because I felt it many times along the journey, which was the imposter syndrome. You and I have talked about this privately, but I wanted to just share this story because I don't think I've told it publicly yet on a podcast. So I wanted to give you one. So this I just love. And it was the first time I arrived at my first NFL conference, and I walked in the room and I could see like people kind of mulling over there. And I travel in comfortable clothes most of the time, usually like, you know, like sweats and a hoodie, and I'm really just zoned out. So I get there and I look over, and this was 2010. Everybody in the room almost had the exact same khaki pants on and a different, like all polo shirts, different colors. And I didn't own a polo shirt. Like when I took the job in the NFL, my wife and I had to go shopping for dress clothes. I didn't own anything. So I'm like, oh my God, we have to wear polo shirts. I don't have a polo shirt. So I ran upstairs and I put shorts on, and I pretended I was going running. And I ran through the entire plaza where the hotel was until I found a store that sold polo shirts. The only place I found was a Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville. So I bought a polo shirt, a black polo shirt with a parrot on it. Right. And I ran back, stuffed the bag in my shirt so nobody would see it, ran upstairs, and I got dressed for the cocktail party. And I put on my most like non-colorful shoes. I put on like khaki pants and this polo shirt. And I went to the thing, and about 3/4 of the way through this cocktail event, I'm like, why am I trying to be like everybody else? I didn't get here by being like everybody else. So the next day, well, by the end of the night, everybody's asking me where the after party was. I set it all up, and that's, you know, but in the morning I showed up and I had orange shoes on, and I had like one of my like patented, like crazy shirts on. And by the end of the conference, #Wayne's shoes was trending in the conference app. Like I had made more contacts by being myself and not pretending to be, again, back to the no college thing. And for years I hid that. And now it's the first thing I hope you see when you bump into me, because it is what separates you. Your uniqueness is what separates you. And in business, if you celebrate what makes you different and special, can really propel you along. Man, you're a magnet. Like you're like, yeah, like in the best way possible, you know. And
I felt that from the minute we had coffee and
Yeah, dude.
little Italy, however long it was. It's just like
that was 2019, dude, because that was right after Katie and I had this conversation. I have to give you a shout out because you were like the second person I told, and I had just met you. Like literally, we were 4 sips of coffee in, and I'm like, I don't know for a reason I trust this dude. And I'm like, I'm going to tell you something. I'm leaving this job. Like, and you're like, wait, what? I've been waiting to meet the CMO of the
I'm like, shit. I was like, check. I'll just take the check now.
You have been an amazing friend and just mentor and somebody who has checked in with me and constantly given me, positive motivation to keep going. And I would be remiss to not say thank you on this forum, on your forum, to your audience, that they know that what you put out there is not bullshit. Like, it's real, it's genuine. It's when nobody sees it and it's in my phone and it's just you and me. Like, by the way, you have motivated me that I now have a list of people that have reached out to me for advice that I now check in on periodically just to be like, hey, how you doing? And I know how much that meant to me when I was sort of in it, figuring it out. And I know that if they reach out to me for help, I know they're in that same zone and how important that was. So just a public thank you for everything that you did for me, because I know I'm not the only one. I know you got a phone. I know you got DMs full of people you check on. So much love for that.
Oh man, look, I received this. I'm receiving this, which is hard.
I know.
Which is hard because that's not why you do it. You do it because all I really want, in the spirit of, I think this is a great way to end the show. By the way, like, I receive that, and I really appreciate that. But like, I've always been an alliteration junkie.
I love alliteration.
I'm an alliteration
you and I have the
junkie.
same simple minds. It just
simple
works.
brain. It's what's gonna stick. So like, what's cool for me is there's like these 4 F's that pop for me when I listen to the show, listen to you talk. And this is like real time stuff.
Yeah, I watched you.
Right. So one is figured out ability. Like, you're gonna always get in your own way if you don't. Like, I didn't go to college, so you're a victim. No, figured out ability. Keep going.
Yep.
2, I think feel right. Does it feel right? Didn't feel right? Don't lie to yourself on that. If it feels right, follow the feel, basically. Keep going down the field. 3, friend zone, baby. The friend zone. When you say what you say, like, obviously we're in the friend zone, but I'm really just trying to intern for you at some point. Just tell me when I can come intern for you already. You got a junior copywriter position for me? Can I jump over there?
Can I add an asterisk to the friend one too? Just because it can become a negative where people will say you're only here because of that. The magical moment for me was when I reported directly to Ron and I finally got to just be me, and I was nobody's guy. So many people try to discredit me for so long that, Wayne only got to go to the Dolphins because he was Jim's guy. Wayne only got to go to the Padres because he was Mike's guy. And now nobody's saying that anymore, right? But I got that moment, and I just, that's the only asterisk I would put on that of like, yes, it's great. And yes, as my buddy said to me the other day, don't forget, you worked your ass off for those people and you gain their trust and all of that. I'm like, but on the outside, it's easy to discredit that it just magically happened. It didn't. It took a lot of work and a lot of effort.
Which I think is the last F is stop trying to fit in, guys. Fit out. Like the sooner
like that.
Right, but don't do it just for the sake of fitting out. If it's if it's who you are, be who you are, and don't be afraid to fit out and be at a, hashtag Wayne shoes. Right, it's not a terrible place to be. Keep going, brother.
Thanks,
Keep
dude.
going.
I appreciate you.
You already have a DM for me, probably in the.
I love it.
I'll see you out on the road, brother. Be good.
Talk to you soon. Thanks, Ron.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Courageous Podcast. If you enjoy the show, don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts so more people can find us. See you again next week.